television event.
Agencies and parastatals under the ministries here this morning, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen. It's my singular honor and privilege to welcome you to the 8th edition of the Ministerial Press Briefing Series, one which started February this year, led by the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation. And so far, we have had several ministries. Permit me to mention a few. We have had the Ministry of Livestock Development, Regional Development, Industry, Trade and Investment, Aviation and Aerospace Development, Education, Foreign Affairs, the Ministry of Interior, Power, Environment and Defense. And it's our pleasure to have with us this morning these three powerhouse ministries here with us this morning. Without wasting any much time, I've just been reliably informed that the Permanent Secretary now of Arts, Culture, Tourism and the Creative Economy, Dr. Mukhtar Yawale Mohammed, MFR, MNR, is in the house. Apologies for the mix-up. Without wasting any much time, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we'll move now to invite the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, Fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Public Relations, to kickstart today's proceeding. Please, with a round of applause, welcome the Honorable Minister.
Thank you. Compare. The Honorable Minister of Works, His Excellency Senator David Umahi, the Honorable Minister of State Works, Alhaji Bello Muhammad Goronyo, the Honorable Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Utsev, the Honorable Minister of Arts, Culture, Tourism and the Creative Economy, my sister Hannatu Musawa, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Information. But before that, let me recognize the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Information, Mr. Sunday Dari. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Information and National Orientation, a brand new Permanent Secretary who is attending the Ministerial Press Briefing for the first time, Mr. Obodo Chinasa. You are welcome. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Water Resources, Mr. Filangwa. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Works. Heads of agencies of Ministries of Information and National Orientation, Ministry of Works, Ministry of Water Resources, Ministry of Arts, Culture, Tourism and the Creative Economy, all directors of the various ministries, my friends, my colleagues, very distinguished members of the media who make this happen every time we call upon them. I greet you this morning. It is my pleasure to warmly welcome you to the 8th edition of the Ministerial Press Briefing. Today, we are privileged to host three distinguished members of the Federal Executive Council. Now, you know that every week we tell you that there are only 2 ministries that we take. We wanted to have one on Wednesday and have one today, but we couldn't have it, and therefore we are lumping the 3 of them together. So you're going to have a bumper edition today. This platform, as always, offers a unique and valuable opportunity for our invited ministers to brief the nation on the progress, priorities, and outlook of their respective ministries. It is an open and interactive session that is broadcast live on national television and across all major digital platforms. This is reinforcing our administration's strong commitment to openness, accountability, and direct communication with citizens. Since we began this series in February this year, we have had engagement with many ministries, and each session has enabled Nigerians both within and outside this country to gain direct and unfiltered insight into the plans and programs of the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, for those who think that the ministry or the ministers are actually going outside the country to host or to have these press briefings, this is your answer to it. We have our responsibility first to the Nigerian nation, and that is why we invite these ministers to come here and address Nigerians and those outside this country directly from nowhere but from the National Press Center here in Abuja. So if you think that the ministerial press briefing, for those who are already making insinuation that is being moved outside this country, the platform that the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation is providing is what is happening here in this country. Let me emphasize once again that this series will continue to rise up to the May Democracy Day and even afterwards, until every minister has had his turn. And then even after we do that, it is our determination to continue to provide this platform for all ministers to come and engage with Nigerians. This is part of our ongoing effort to deepen transparency and foster a more informed and engaged citizenry. Today, I am pleased to announce encouraging news from the National Bureau of Statistics, which released the Consumer Price Index, the CPI, for April 2025, only yesterday. According to the report, the headline inflation rate for April stood at 23.71%, this represents a decrease of 0.52% from the 24.23% recorded in March 2025. Similarly, month-on-month inflation dropped by a notable 2.04% from 3.90% in March to 1.86% in April. I think we'll reserve some clap here. This, of course, did not just happen by chance. The president is focused and is determined, and his determination and his interventions are clearly paying off. The benefits of reform, though gradual, are real and measurable. One of the key indicators of relief is the food inflation rate. While food prices remain an important concern for many Nigerians, the year-on-year food inflation rate has eased to 21.26% in April. On a month-on-month basis, it slowed to 2.06%. That is down from 2.18% in March. This positive movement has largely been driven by price reduction in staple items such as maize flour, wheat, yam flour, okra, soya beans, rice, and beans. The major drivers of headline inflation, food and non-alcoholic beverages, restaurants and accommodation services, and transport are being targeted through strategic government interventions in the agricultural sector, in transportation, and also in other services. These efforts are yielding results and helping to ease pressure on household incomes. Ladies and gentlemen, we acknowledge that we are not yet where we desire to be. But these latest figures give us every reason to be hopeful. They show that hard decisions are beginning to bear fruit. And as inflation eases, we expect to see corresponding improvements in consumer purchasing power and living conditions for all Nigerians generally. Let me also assure you that the federal government will continue to sustain this tempo. Our focus remains on implementing people-centered policies that guarantee relief, restore economic stability, and ensure shared prosperity for all Nigerians. I urge my friends and my colleagues in the fourth estate, the media, to continue to help to disseminate this positive development responsibly, constructively, and as patriotically as it is possible for you to do. Nigeria is indeed turning the corner. And with your continued support, the discipline by all government functionaries, and the faith by the citizens in this process, we shall reap the dividends of these reforms together. Let me once again appreciate the media for your consistent dedication to the Ministerial Press Briefing Series. Your role in conveying government programs and policies to the Nigerian people is both vital and commendable. Today, as always, Nigerians will gain deeper insight into the far-reaching investments being undertaken by the Tinubu administration in key sectors that directly impact the lives and livelihoods of our citizens. These include substantial interventions in critical infrastructure, including roads and bridges, and that is why we have the Honorable Minister of Works here to talk to you on the massive investments that this administration is doing in this critical sector. This, of course, includes the work that we are also doing in the water and sanitation sector, and also in arts, culture, and the creative economy. This, we all hope, will optimize benefits for all Nigerians. Equally important is the administration's bold drive to harness the power of creativity. The vision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is very clear. It is to ensure that Nigeria once again recovers its place, not just on the African continent, but also on the global stage. I urge you to sit back while I invite first the Honorable Minister of Works, distinguished Senator, His Excellency, Senator Dave Umahi, to take the floor. Let me remind us that this is going to be a 2-hour program. Each minister will have about 30 minutes to make his presentation, and then there will be an interactive session for about half an hour. We know, of course, that this is not enough to exhaust all the issues that they want, but like we have promised, this is not just a one-off engagement. It is a continuous engagement that the ministry will provide the platform. Of course, this is in addition to the various efforts that the ministers are also doing in their various ministries. Thank you very much for listening, and let me invite the Honorable Minister, His Excellency, Dave Umahi, to come.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, my dear brother, the Honorable Minister of Information and State Orientation, Dr. Mohammed Idris. Honourable Minister, if you allow me, I will stand on the protocol you properly established. But good to mention that I'm here with my brother and friend, the Honourable Minister of Works for State, Right Honourable Goronyo, is here with us. Also with the PAM Secretary, Minister of Works, Engineer Funsho Adebiye is here with us. And all our directors are here. My dear brothers and sisters, my colleagues, the honorable ministers, standing on protocol that is in place. Let me first comment and congratulate Mr. President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for his almost 2 years in office and for a lot improvement in our economy that was inherited, was in shock, was in coma, and he came and injected oxygen. And today, we have a lot of positive indices in the economy of our nation. I can't say better than what the Honorable Minister of Information has said, but we will come to that. But let me say that when Mr. President came to office, May 29, 2023, he inherited a total number of 2,604 projects, major projects. And from then till now, we have started new projects under his administration, totaling about 65, and that is major projects. And we also have started 4 legacy projects under him. And of course, we have completed 260 palliative projects totaling 208 billion. We will come to that. But let me say that these 2,604 projects inherited as at May 29, 2023, totaled about 13 trillion naira, and of course, 1 trillion was debt owed contractors for completed jobs. When we did rule of the term at that time and projected by the reason of removal of fuel subsidy and floating of the naira, the project then came to about 17 to 18 trillion. And today, projecting that is about 20 trillion. But by the ingenuity of Mr. President, FAKE directed that we should prioritize these inherited projects along the geopolitical zone and along the nation economic corridors. And we came up with a total of 440 projects. These 440 projects needed to be reviewed because the basic rates of construction materials as at the time these indices of our economy were changed, are no longer the same. And that necessitated the change, review of the projects, and also phasing of projects. Let me mention that outside the projects we completed and commissioned in the last year, May 29th, which we also rendered to you, we have also completed another set of 19 projects. And some of these projects are like the Yakasi project in Kano, which was about 34 kilometers, totally about 17 billion. We also have the Hadija project in Kano, and which was, about 84 billion for 105 kilometers. And you come to Southwest, we have completed the Section 1 of Dangote Tax Credit, which is the concrete road that is coming from Lekki Deep Sea Port and going to Ekpe in Lagos State. We've also completed the extension of Third Mainland Bridge with CCTV camera to observe what is happening within that environment up to Falomo. We've also completed the Lagos-Ibadan route, which was 84 kilometers, about 201 billion. It was inherited. And that Lagos-Ibadan, there are 2 sections under phase 1. One was done by Jilo Beja, and it was completed and commissioned by the last administration. But we inherited section 2 of phase 1, and that is being completed by RCC. And we also have the Lagos-Badagry project, which is being done by, CGC, and is set for, commissioning. And so these are some of the projects we have. If you go to the southwest and south-south, we have the section 1 of the east-west road, which is running from Port Harcourt, going to, Bayelsa State. And that was completed by Julius Berger under administration. We are also working on section 2, which is between Ahoda and Ekayama. That is ongoing. In Southeast, we have completed the Artisan Bridge. The 2 bridges failed when Mr. President came on board, and he directed that we should inspect it, and we inspected. And today it's being completed. It's 25 meter span by 3, which is 75 meters. About 5.9 billion is completed by CCACC. And 1 bridge in my state, which is Akwaha Bridge, which is a single carriageway. That of Enugu is double carriageway, but that of Ebonyi is single carriageway. And that's been completed by CCACC. And you get to North Central, we have the Shandam Bridge in Plateau State is completed. And in Northeast, we have the Jimeta Bridge in Adamawa State is completed. And another bridge also in Adamawa State, which is connecting Adamawa, to the next, state. And that is a route going to Cameroon. We had a terrible issue last year, and I had to visit there by the directive of Mr. President. But I'm very happy that that problem is a thing of the past. I'm not sure we are missing out any other this thing in terms of completed projects. But let me announce that Mr. President in 2023 directed for immediate action on 260 palliative projects. Some of these projects as big as 10 billion, but the total is 260. We have the soft copy and the hard copy, which we're going to give to you. Those projects have been, completed up to 99%, just about 2 or 3 projects that are still outstanding. And I've always said these projects are very important. Even though 208 billion is not a small money, but when you think about 260 projects, you may think they're not important. No, they're very important, because a chain is as strong as the weakest link. If this palliative were not fixed, it would have been very difficult to go from one state to the other. And I continue to maintain that the road and the bridge sector is the major sector that grows the economy, the GDP of any nation. And it is on this economy, the GDP, that other sectors grow from. A man in China was asked, what do you do if a nation wants to be great? He said, build road. They asked him again, he said, build road. And so I commend Mr. President very highly for his commitment in infrastructure. And I said, for a man that tamed the Atlantic Ocean, we come to that. That's a man with real courage. And he's a guru in infrastructure development. And let me also say that apart from these projects, we also have 4 major legacy projects. And we have also compiled a number of ongoing projects. Time will fail me to mention all the ongoing projects. But if we come to the South-South, we have the Lokoja, to Benin, starting from Okene. We have 3 projects that are ongoing there, and by CCEC, by BUA, by CBC, and finally by, is it a CGC? Yes. These projects have been terminated and re-awarded, and work is going on very seriously. You get to Benin to Warri, the terrain is very bad, and we inherited 3 projects there, and we have reviewed it, and we are constructing it on a reinforced concrete pavement as directed by Mr. President, because when we came on board, we would see, traffic jam with big trucks up to 2, 3, 4, 5 kilometers. And the road was so terrible. So we had to redesign this route, digging by 1 meter down, fill it back with lumps, sharp sand, stone base, and then put 20 cm reinforced concrete pavement. Work is ongoing there. The first section is handled by Lebanon, second section by Guild, third section by SKCC. And between Warri down to River State, we have two major washouts because this road was constructed below the plain, the floodplain. And so we've intervened in such situation at Ugele axis and also at Ahoda axis. Work is almost completed. We finished one carriageway on reinforced concrete pavement, and then we've turned traffic to it, and then we're doing the other one. Very sure that it will be done. And so when you continue on what Mr. President is doing in South, you get to the section 2 of East West Road, which is being done by Setraco. Of course, I've told you that section 1 has been completed and ready for commissioning. And that job is about 75% done. We hope to finish and have it commissioned by December. And you get to the Eleme-One junction. And I always say that this is the most traffic section, of our routes, in this country. Because you have the refinery there, you have the port there, you have the petrochemical, and a lot of other companies there. 15 kilometers by 2, but each carriageway is 15 meters, which is about 4 lanes at a go. And when we inherited this project, it was 156 billion, and that was to be done with flexible pavement. But we looked at the soil terrain, and we carried out extensive soil investigation, and then we decided to redesign it, which we did, and we are reconstructing it with reinforced concrete pavement. Good to announce that the one section of it from Eleme going to Ne has been completed on reinforced concrete pavement, and the other section we are engaging from next week. And then you get to Ekate, you have the Ekate bypass, which is 19.5 kilometers by 2, and it is for a total contract sum of 74 billion. Work is ongoing there. It is being done with rigid pavement. That's reinforced concrete pavement. And between Akwa Ibom to Cross River, we have the CCCC we inherited, and we've redesigned, and faced the project. And then the second one, we have the Beja. We negotiated with Beja to continue the project for 14 months, which they could not. And so we had to terminate the project and re-awarded it to Recon. And then, of course, the Samatec. Most of these roads are being reconstructed on rigid pavement because of the terrain. When we visited Calabar the other day, we were worried that between Calabar and Akwa Ibom, a journey of 1.5, we did it 7 hours. And that necessitated our scoping 11.5 kilometers by 2, and we drafted high-tech to come and they do those sections, especially our power plant that is at Uduakwane. And so these are what Mr. President is doing, in this, section. But let me also say that 383B, 65 kilometers of Lagos-Calabar coastal highway has been flagged off. And good surprise to see that high-tech is even at the verge of completing 10 kilometers of that section within the next 2-3 months. So we are very grateful for what Mr. President is doing in that section. If you get to Northwest, Northwest is fully loaded. You have the Abuja-Kano, which we terminated from Jolobeja, and that is section 1 and the section 3, and that's 118 kilometers, which we have re-awarded to InfoQuest for a total contract sum of 252 billion. And of course, we also injected street light, making that road ready for operate and maintain when completed. Good to announce that 5 kilometers of reinforced concrete pavement is being completed because that road is redefined and they re-awarded on rigid pavement. And so section 2 is 64 kilometers by 2, which is 128 kilometers, and it's also been redesigned on rigid pavement for a total contract sum of 525 billion. Work is ongoing there, and we also put solar light, making it ready for operate and maintain when this is completed and is awarded to InfoQuest. And you get to Sokoto, from Sokoto to Zamfara, and Zamfara to Katsina, and Katsina to Kaduna. It's a total of 375 kilometers by 2, which is 750 kilometers. And this we inherited, and we had to redesign major part of that road on reinforced concrete pavement. It's a big one, and the total contract sum is 872 billion. And you start from Sokoto, you get the CBC is doing wonders, you know, with one carriageway on rigid pavement. And today we have completed 40 kilometers. Those going from Sokoto to Zamfara will be able to see, you know, that beautiful road. Even those in opposition have stopped severally at Eleme and Sokoto to say, even though we are in opposition, we can't oppose this. And that makes us very happy. I thought you put your hands together for Mr. President. Yes. And so you get to Zamfara, and that is Setraco. Setraco is doing a fantastic work. I'm from Zamfara to Katsina, and that's tractor, doing fantastic work. I'm from there to Kaduna, and that is Mothercat, doing fantastic work. We have engaged seriously in that project. And then you get to Kebbi, you see the Malando project is ongoing. But the good news is the Lagos, the Sokoto Badagry. This was a dream of the Shagari administration about 47 years back. And it was supposed to be Badagry Sokoto, but a very detribalized, you know, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu directed us to change it to Sokoto, you know, Badagry. And when you look at the terrain, you look at a total of 1,068 kilometers by 2, you know it's only a man with great courage. The man, the power of the dream of one man that could engage in such a project. And so the dream of Shagari administration 47 years ago is made flesh by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Today, we have awarded Section 1, you know, that 2 carriageway, but we started with 1 carriageway, 258 kilometers in KB axis, awarded for 958 billion. And we've sent the second leg of it to BPP to give us, you know, no objection to go to FEC. And so let me say that out of the 4 legacy projects of Mr. President, KB has the largest chunk of it. And work is ongoing, and in the next, you know, 1 month we will have 10 kilometers of that project at KB for commissioning if Mr. President desires, but work is very much ongoing, and it's on rigid pavement. And we also have the Sokoto axis, you know, Ilela. When we were to flag up the Sokoto axis, I was to do it at a different location. Mr. President called me and said, go to Ilela. That is a place they gave me a lot of votes. And today, that 120 kilometers of the first carriageway is ongoing as Sokoto axis and awarded for 482 billion. The second carriageway is also in procurement for, you know, award. Time will fail me to mention other projects in Northwest, but you know the Kaduna Eastern Bypass being done by Dangote in rigid pavement. Time will fail me to mention the Northern Ring Road is being done by CCECC. You have the Zaria to Hunki being done by Mothercat, and so many other projects. And I think that Northwest, they have the largest chunk of my projects in Ministry of Works. Can you put our hands together for Mr. President? In the Southwest, we have some ongoing projects. We have the newly awarded 7th Axia Road. This 7th Axia Road is taken off from the Lekki Deep Sea Port. And I've said that the legacy project of Mr. President is an investment, is beyond road construction. It is a road construction upon which other, you know, road arteries of the Federation will link up to. For example, at the Lekki Deep Sea Port, we have a lot of advantages because we are no longer paying for, you know, transloading of, you know, a ship, because the Apapa Wharf is of a shallow, you know, depth. But the Lekki Deep Sea Port, of course, the dream of Mr. President made flesh, but not by me anyway. But I have a lot of, you know, activities at the Deep Sea Port. So we have big ship betting there, and so we needed a lot of evacuation corridor. And that is what this Dangote, you know, is doing for us, taking us to Ekpe. But the 7th Axia Road, which is 26.4, but it has about 5 kilometers of bridges and it's dual carriageway. I've been awarded for lot 1 and 2 for $651 million US, and I call it evacuation corridor. It takes us right away from the deep sea port and takes us to Shagamu, Ore, Benin. And so it's an evacuation corridor for the 17 northern states and also for other northern, southern states and other northern states within that corridor. And of course, we have the very wonderful Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, Section 1. This Section 1 is 47.47 kilometers, and it is of 3 lanes each. And 30 kilometer, great to announce, it's been achieved and is ready for commissioning. On Section 2, I think we deserve a bigger hand of applause to our president. And Section 2 is 55 kilometers by 2, which is awarded for 1.33 billion, and it covers all the bridges in Sections 1 and the 2. About 7 kilometers of that road is being completed. And so it is set for, if the president likes, but what we are putting forward is for him to flag off that second section and then, inspect it. That's what we have. And of course, we have repair works going on in Tom Mainland Bridge and Carter Bridge. We've had an engagement on Carter Bridge. In fact, Beja says that Carter Bridge is in comatose and needed a replacement. We are engaging on that, and whatever we come up with, using our experts and stakeholders on civil engineering, we'll let you know, and then we will make it public. But definitely, the Tom Mainland Bridge and Carter Bridge, built over 52 years back with no maintenance until President Bola Ahmed came on board, is having very serious issue beneath the water, table. And so we also have Section 2 of the Lagos Ibadan. Section 2, Phase 2 is being done for 184 billion by CBC, and that includes completion of all the ramps of the bridges they built. Unfortunately, these bridges that were built, the head walls was done according to the engineering requirement. The minimum that is required of headroom is 5.6, but some of it was even done at 6.2, and yet big trucks are knocking the beams, and so it's in great danger. So today we have 7 bridges that the beams are in trouble because big vehicles went to knock it down. And that's why in part of our policy we've directed that all our headrooms henceforth should not be less than 6.5 meters. We have solution to tackle that, and that's by depressing, the underpass and get a maximum of 6.5 meters to mitigate that. And of course, if you come to southeast, we have the Enugu Onisha, roads being done by MTN, 107 kilometers at 202 billion. We have scoped out 77 kilometers because it's supposed to be dual carriageway. So the second carriageway is scoped out 77 kilometers and awarded at 150 billion to CBC. And of course, you have the Owerri Onisha project that is ongoing. You have the sections of Port Harcourt to Enugu. The Log Panther to Enugu is 61 kilometers. One carriageway is completed, the work is going on the other one. You have the Eko-Binago flyover, which is 23 span. The answer is to decongest traffic within that Enugu depot. And that job is about 84% done, and is done for 25 billion. You have the dualization of Enugu-Abakaliki, which is 84 kilometers, and is being done for 183 billion with about 7 bridges. You have the Afipo going to Abia, going to Okiwe, and that is about 75 kilometers, is being done by Dangote tax credit. And you come to the northeast. The northeast, you have the Akwanga to Jos to Bauchi and to Gombe. And that is the 4th legacy project of Mr. President, 432 kilometers. We are completing design, but we've done palliative on that work. Anybody going through that place will be able to see the palliative work we've done. And, we are completing design and the procurement. We have Mubi axis of, a project. We have the Gembu axis. We have the Medugri, ring road. We have the section of Kano to Medugri. The first section is, at between Kano and Jigawa, and that was awarded to Dantata, but Dantata did not perform to the satisfaction of Ministry of Works after 18 years. So we terminated it and we've re-awarded it to Tractor. They are mobilized to site. And we have this section 5, which is at Medugri Township, and that is being done by CCECC, and that project is ongoing. And we have the Gombe to Bauchi project being done by Tractor, and time will fail me to say all the project. But of course, in North Central benefited from the third legacy project of Mr. President, from the job that I didn't mention, that the Trans-Sahara trade route, which is the third legacy project of Mr. President, that the Southeast benefited 118 kilometers by 361 billion. We are engaging in first carriageway, at a moment. And so from there, the North Central benefited because the project is running from there to Benue, from Benue to Kogi, Kogi to Nasarawa, and Nasarawa down to Abuja. And the total length of the project is 486 kilometers of road. We have the roads we took over from Bulletin that was terminated before administration, being done by True Crit. That project, we have taken it over, and is being done by Reinforced Concrete. And we also have the section that was being done by Jito. We've terminated that project after 18 years, and we've redesigned it 66 kilometers. Work is ongoing. And of course, from Lokoja to Kene, we have 2 sections there being done by CGC. Work is ongoing. We have the Buruku Bridge that is ongoing. We have the Kasinala project that is going to Cross River that is ongoing. And of course, you have the Maraba Kefi that is ongoing. And time will fail me to mention all the projects. I don't know whether my PAM secretary, have I forgotten any zone? If I forgot a zone, you have to let me know. I'm told that I have this thing. Let me commend Mr. President very highly for the 4 legacy projects. I've mentioned them, but let me say that the source of funding, and before I say the source of funding, I've already told you that we have 260 palliative projects totaling 208 billion, and they're ready for commissioning. And we've agreed, subject to directive of Mr. President, that the projects will be commissioned zone by zone, and that we are going to have the press, going to all the 6 zones, the Nigeria Road Transport Workers, National Assembly. So you will be involved in the commission of these projects. And before I round off, let me say that I saw when people posted that we are going to London. I've never been to London in the past 2 years. I never discussed with anybody about going to London. I have too much work to do here, talk about going to London. And so we shouldn't, just take on social media and take it to be true. Nobody discussed going to London with me. And let me say that for a minister to travel out of the country, the rule is that you must get written approval by the Mr. President. So this is social media jargon and should not be taken, seriously. Nobody discussed with me. I'm not aware. I'm not aware that any of the other ministers, they are aware. And so please disregard it and let us not join issues with social media. And let somebody help me to tell Mr. Rufai, who is my very good friend, to please cross-check very well. Because they would have sent a text to us before they began to condemn us. Even when I was governor, before I traveled out of the country, I had always taken permission from a sitting president. So I'm a man that is played by the rule of the law. And so the policies that we have injected in the ministry, before now, when you give contractors mobilization, in fact, no contractor will move to site until you pay mobilization, but that's not what the Procurement Act says. Procurement Act says that the client may and not must. So we've changed that narratives, and in the contract agreement, we put it down that if after 30 days we sign contract with you and you fail to mobilize and work, then that project is assumed to have been terminated. And this is helping us because people have a lot of excuses and then seek for variation and say, look, we will not pay mobilized. That's not what the law says. In fact, you are required to have certain amount of money in your own liquidity before you get certain jobs. We are also classifying the contractors. We don't want contractors, some of them are reading from university and come down to primary school, and reading from primary school going to the university. We don't want that. We are classifying contractors according to their capacity and abilities so that we will give life to our local contractors. And let me also announce that Mr. President directed that we must grow the local contractors. We must grow our local engineers. And so we have a program which we call Renewed Hope Program, whereby in every state we are getting 5 civil engineers that are not at work, and we are posting them to these 4 legacy projects and other mega projects of the country so that they can learn. We can't continue to use foreign contractors to grow our economy. You go to China, you find out who are working. We have to grow our people, and we've introduced reinforced concrete pavement, which is very easy to lay. But the trick in it, and that's why they're fighting me, is that you can do all the mess and cheating with asphalt, but you cannot do that with the reinforced concrete. Because the moment the quality of the concrete is not there, it will fail in your face. But badly job with asphalt will last for 1 year. And that's when people talk, oh, FEMA is not doing anything. By the way, I've told the Minister of Information to please give my brother, the Honorable Minister of State, a day to come, and you'll be shocked with the intervention that FEMA is doing in all our roads. So we brought these, innovations, and we brought innovations of very serious training. In fact, since the PAM Secretary came, we have had about 4 different kinds of training for engineers. And we also brought, a policy that if a controller of a state is not doing well, it's not pushing the contractor, it's not supervising the project, it's not able to give us account of the projects anytime we call, we record the controller, and they will be posted to my office. So every day we stay in the office and they will greet ourselves. This is what we are doing. And so we have different funding, this thing. But let me, say about HDMI, which is the Highway Development and Management Initiative. This is a kind of PPP on our roads, which is what we desire. We desire for, I'm told to stop, but I will stop, We desire that, investors should come and they take over, most of these roads. But we are being very careful. I've written to ICRC to let me know the alternative roads, because the law says for you to give out any road to be done on PPP and toll, you have to give an alternative road. So we are very careful, because there's what is called pull-up, call option, which is if you find money to do the road and you toll it and there is interference, then they will have to now take money from Federation account. We don't want when Mr. President is resting after 8 years, and when I will be resting after 8 years, and for contractors that thought that, I'm about quitting, I'm not quitting. We are in this thing together, and we must change the narrative. So we are being very careful not to shortchange the federal government, not to shortchange our people, not to mortgage the interests of our born children. And this is very important. So we welcome PPP. We've handed over Bini Asaba. And so the society should push for that contractor to start work. And that is handed over to African Plus. And so we are willing and ready to engage private sector to do our roads and toll it. But no road will be tolled unless it is completely done and in good condition. That is the directive of Mr. President. And finally, I don't want to be disobedient or be a member of a Labour Party that are very disobedient. I want to commend, my Minister of State Works and my PAM Secretary and all the directors. But greater commendation goes to Mr. President. When he asked me to do Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, I drew inspiration from the Eco-Atlantic. When I was working in Lekki as a young engineer, people were selling off their properties within that axis. I know, there is one bank that had glass house that sold off in panic. IMB, very good. But Mr. President, a man of courage, a man of, I call him the Joseph the Dreamer, and the God has helped him to make flesh all his dreams. I commend him very highly. Our GDP is growing, inflation is coming down, our foreign exchange is impacted positively. The World Bank says we are not owing them again. Let's put our hands together for Mr. President, the man, the roadmaster, and the man of uncommon courage. Thank you very much. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you.
I believe the Honorable Minister deserves a resounding round of applause. Thank you very much. You may please be seated. Thank you. Thank you very much. Need I remind you that the Honorable Minister of Works is the first civil engineer to be appointed Honorable Minister of Works in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you. Without wasting any much time, permit me to invite to the podium the next presenter. The next presenter is a lawyer, a member of the Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, and a political activist. I permit me to add to her citation that this next presenter is the brand ambassador of the Nigeria brand. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the Honorable Minister of Arts, Culture, Tourism, and the Creative Economy, Hannatu Musa Musawa.
Good morning, everyone. I'm just taking off my watch because I have 30 minutes exactly. Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, the Honorable Minister of Works, the Honorable Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, the Honorable Minister of State for Works, my Permanent Secretary, Dr. Mukhtar Yawale Mohammed, the Special Advisor to the President, Mr. Sunday Dare, all other protocols duly observed. It is really with great pleasure that I stand here to present the scorecard of the Federal Ministry of Art, Culture, Tourism and the Creative Economy. I guess the worst thing about presenting your scorecard is actually coming after the Honorable Minister of Works, who has not only shown himself to be one of the most hardest working ministers, but has emerged as a star man of the administration. Thank you for all you do. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu from the beginning wanted to do something very different. They often say that when you do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, you're probably not very sane. So President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came with a mission and a vision to impart an impact for the young generation, for a future generation and the generation after that. In a way that he can do that, he thought of a diversification approach. And one of the areas he identified to diversify was the area of culture and creative economy. And for the first time in our history, he set a stand-alone ministry that caters to this very, very important industry. And also, in his drive to deliver on the Renewed Hope agenda, amongst so many other things, he wanted to reduce government expenditure and to streamline the activities of government and reposition the system for effective service delivery. By doing that, he merged the Federal Ministry of Tourism with the Ministry of Art, Culture, with the Ministry of Art, Culture and the Creative Economy in order to really align it. Because when you think of culture and the creative economy, it's really to bring the global community into Nigeria, out of Nigeria, or to export Nigeria to the global community. And for tourism, is really to bring the global community into Nigeria. So these two ministries really work together. The mandate of the ministry is to provide an enabling environment for the exposure of the positive elements of the nation's art, culture, tourism, and to harness the potential of Nigeria's creative economy. Under our ministry, there are 11 agencies: the National Council for Arts and Culture, the National Institute for Cultural Orientation, the Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization, the National Film and Video Censors Board, the Nigerian Film Corporation, and the National Commission for Museums and Monuments, the National Gallery of Arts, the National Theatre, the National Troupe of Nigeria, the Nigerian Tourism Development Authority, and the Nigerian Institute for Hospitality and Tourism. So really, what is our strategic importance of our ministry? The priority area of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is to accelerate this diversification of the economy through industrialization, digitization, creative arts, tourism, manufacturing, and innovation. The creative economy in Nigeria has long been a vibrant and resilient sector, one that has never really had the attention of government. So what you find is that Nigerians within the sector have had to really build the sector organically on their own. Now President Bola Ahmed Tinubu comes with this vision and this mandate for us to do a handshake with the industry, to see what they need to allow them to help us as a nation grow the economy, to bring value to them and to bring the value back to the benefit of Nigeria. The ministry, as part of its data initiative, D30, is conducting a mapping that will offer an open source data informed foundation to target setting investment prioritization and program design across Nigeria's creative economy. This is very important because when you don't have data, you have the inability to really assess the industry properly. And with data, you're able to allow investors who want to come into Nigeria to know where they want to really pivot. So this D30 platform that we actually have finished the exercise, and the first week of June, we will be releasing the D30 platform so that Nigerians and the international community can be advised and better informed about how the data relates to the creative industry and to the tourism industry. As an example, in the music sector alone, we have identified 5 segments in the value chain, including production, marketing, and sales. And based on our draft report, we project that we can create over 500,000 new jobs in the sector by 2030, and this is only in the music industry. Our mapping indicates that this sector will continue to thrive through self-employment and micro-enterprise pathways with regional hubs like the FCT in Edo, in Delta, and Plateau, playing key roles alongside Lagos, of course. We are currently going through a validation process, and like I said, but in the early weeks of June, we'll be releasing that. These figures are not just merely statistics. They represent real opportunities for Nigerian youth, for women and communities all across Nigeria. They demonstrate the manner or the power of transformation that we have in our fingertips. Policy review, formulation, and implementation. One of the first things that we looked at was really the policy. It is important for us to think about how we can set a proper foundation for this economy and for this industry to grow. And in our deep dive, we looked at countries such as South Korea that have been able to grow the industry using just to grow their economy and to grow their country, just using the creative economy, the creative industry. So that is what we did. Policy formulation is crucial for the development, growth, and advancement of the 4 sectors under the ministry, and really the 49 subsectors, but we are looking at the top 4 to the top 7 within the sector. Of course, the music, the film, the fashion, the art, the gastronomy. At the inception of this ministry, the policies regulating the sector were not only found to be inadequate, but were outdated and obsolete, and failed to address the developmental changes in the art, culture, tourism, and the creative economy sectors. Consequently, to reposition the sectors and provide an enabling environment for the sectors to thrive and attain its position as a major alternative to income generation for Nigeria. The ministry, in collaboration with the private sector, led by the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, is poised to provide a clear policy framework for not only the creative economy, but the arts, culture, and tourism sector in Nigeria. The policies undergoing review presently, formulation and implementation are, number 1, the National Intellectual Policy Strategy. This is really key and foundational for the growth of the industry, and I can announce that we have finished all the network that we need to do for building a national IP policy, a holistic one that will cover the industry across board. And in the next couple of weeks, we, in conjunction with the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, will be presenting that to the Federal Executive Council. And I must say that I give a lot of thanks to the former Minister of Trade and Investment, Honorable Doris, who really helped to pivot this policy forward. And because of the commitment that she put into it, we are able now to deliver to the creatives a proper IP policy. And then we have the national policy on incentives for the art, culture, and creative economy. In order for you to grow the creative economy and give the creatives the confidence that government is here to help and government is here to support, you have to provide an incentive policy for them. And this is something that we are really diligently working on. And then we have the review of the 2005 National Tourism Policy for Nigeria, which is also ready for presenting to the Federal Executive Council. And here again, I must give kudos to the former Minister of Tourism, who was the one that really drove this national tourism policy. And because of her efforts, I was able to really get a complete policy, and my work has been made easier, and now I can present it, and thank you very much, Honorable Lola Adejon. And then the review of the 1988 National Policy on Culture. 1988, that tells you how obsolete and not up to date some of these policies are. And it is important for us, for the cultural industry, to ensure that we have a robust and very intricate national policy on culture. That also is at the finishing stages, and I will say that was my own project, right? And I will be presenting that to the National Executive Council very, very soon. And then we have the policy on monetary and credit solutions for the creative economy, and the development for a new national policy on the creative economy, which has never been done. So we are taking our time to ensure that we come up with a very robust and strong policy for the creative economy. So now the National Film and Video Censors Board regulation of 2024. We're doing a transition because, again, that is extremely, extremely obsolete, and we're working with Dr. Shuaib, who is really putting a lot of effort to ensure that we give this institution that particular regulation that is up to date. And then the Federal Executive Council approval for the Creative Economy Development Fund. This is one of the things that really makes me excited, because I know the industry is really struggling with a lack of funding to support them. So now the implementation of the IP monetization pilot to provide funding to creators and develop a model for IP asset securitization. And the Federal Executive Council recently approved the Creative Leap Acceleration Program as well. Again, I'm very excited about that for the industry. This is a digital platform to support creative enterprises for funding creative technology and co-working spaces. And it was recently launched, but is presently at the beta stage, and very much will be heard about that in the next coming weeks or months. And then the Comprehensive Film Industry Reform Program, including retooling of government agencies and parastatals, encouraging a functional, self-regulated ecosystem to provide welfare and working conditions, and strengthening intellectual property rights protection. And then the development of the Creative Industry Administrations on Intellectual Property Rights Management 2025 in collaboration with the World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, the Abuja office specifically. Cultural diplomacy and soft power. We all know that the real power that we have as a nation globally lies in our arts, in our culture, in our talent, and in our content. That is what the global community is interested in when you talk about Nigeria, and we want to really leverage on that. Nigeria's rise on the Global Soft Power Index from 93rd in 2003 to 79 in 2004 and to 77th in 2005 presently has been achieved through our cultural influence expansion, and brand perception improvement has been attributed to strategic engagements and the soft power initiatives that has been led directly by the ministry through one of our great initiatives, the Destination 2030. The launch of the Destination 2030 Nigeria Everywhere. They do say that 1 out of every 5 African is a Nigerian, 1 out of every 8 black person in the world is of Nigerian descent. And so that gives us a lot of power. And we want to make sure we give those Nigerians that have ancestry, Nigerian or blacks that have Nigerian ancestry, a reason to pivot back into the greatest black nation of the world. So at the World Economic Forum in Davos, creating a unified brand identity that has improved Nigeria's global soft power ranking by 14 points in just 1 year, rising from the 93rd to the 79th. So you can imagine what we can do when we really push the envelope and we really push Nigeria's global soft power initiative. Motherland 2025 initiative is aimed at reconnecting Nigeria in the diaspora with their roots and positioning Nigeria as a global tourism hub during the festive season and beyond. And also, this will give us the ability within this initiative to do citizenship by investment, because many people that have interest in their roots want to have Nigerian citizenship, and we are coming up with an initiative together. I'm working together with Honorable Abike Dabiri, who is the one that really has the hold on the diaspora, and I want to thank her for that. Then the Nigerian Film Corporation's international engagements at prestigious events, including Screen Nigeria at the 77th Festival de Cannes in France, that is happening now, where a Nigerian movie maker has made the short list of Cannes, and I will be traveling there to make sure that we push every single political leeway that we need to ensure that his film makes the shortlist of the Oscars for next year by the grace of the Almighty. Then the Center for Black and African Arts and Civilization, CBAC, expansion of the international cultural diplomacy efforts, including engagement with the Francophone Ambassadors Group for Festac 77. And soon there will be a countdown to be announced for Festac at 50, and we'll be doing that in collaboration with Aisha Augi, who is manning CBAC, and I want to thank her for that. And of course, the National Council for Arts and Culture's Origin platform that is headed by the great Obiasika. And he has developed a wholesale and holistic vision to really open up the arts and the culture. And it serves as a national repository for Nigeria's living culture and has gained international recognition for at the United Nations. And soon we'll be putting out a calendar, a yearly calendar, that will be able to tell the global community what we have in Nigeria in terms of festivals. So as great as Dirty December is, we want the global community to come into Nigeria from January all through to December. Securing 3 UNESCO inscriptions for the Shango Festival in Oyo and the Kano Durbar Festival and the Midwifery Knowledge, Skills and Practices at the UNESCO's representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. And we were able to do that last year, and I want to congratulate Nigerians for that. And we have also secured the hosting rights for the 68th meeting of the United Nations Tourism Commission for Africa, CAF. And this will be held in Abuja from the 11th to the 13th of June. And my hope is that it will be a global outing and a successful one for Nigeria. And we are also organizing a cultural event at the United Nations Assembly, UNGA, for 2025. We did one last year, and we hope we can do one this year to push the Destination 2030 brand even further. We're leading a delegation. I led a delegation to the G20 meeting for ministers of culture, and we, Nigeria, represented the African Union in Brazil in 2004. Global outreach program with engagements in Europe, Middle East, and Latin America to showcase Nigeria's cultural diplomacy and creative excellence. We are showcasing Nigeria's participation at the prestigious international arts festivals, and we were at Venice Biennale, and I can tell you, Nigeria was nominated as the best pavilion because of our content and our creativity. Economic value. This is very important to Mr. President. He wants us to use this industry to add growth, and we have committed to increasing the GDP by $100 billion by 2030. We have secured presently $200 million commitment from Afrexim Bank to accelerate building of cultural and creative industries. And this will be operationalized on June the 1st. So in the next couple of days, we're looking for creatives to apply, because now we have funding, and this funding is going direct to support the creators. We have a partnership with the Ministry of Finance Incorporated, MOFI, to monetize tangible and intangible national assets within creative and tourism domains by cataloging, valuing, and securing government assets. And I want to congratulate you by saying this was approved by the Federal Executive Council last week. So we can now bring value and money using our own assets. So we have to be creative in supporting Mr. President and in supporting his vision to create economic growth. We have strategic collaborations with the Federal Inland Revenue Service to enhance the tax compliance and revenue collection while fostering growth of the creative economy. And then we have the launch, like I said, of the CEDF, which is very exciting. And there's a landmark initiative that is meant to catalyze growth, innovation, and sustainable financing for Nigeria's creative and cultural industries through a debt financing window offering affordable loans to viable creative businesses, and an equity window providing investments in promoting creative businesses with high growth potential, and a grant funding window supporting innovative ideas and cultural projects with high impact potential. And the fund will benefit the entire creative economy, the value chain across sectors including film, music, fashion, art, publishing, gaming, cultural heritage and tourism, and any other person that has a viable business model that can really add to the economy. And then the Renewed Hope Cultural Project, the economic impact, creating opportunity for rural communities to participate in wealth creation. Mr. President wants us to take his vision right down to the grassroots. And the Renewed Hope Cultural Project sees us looking at the unique peculiarities of every single state and doing partnerships and MOUs. We've already signed MOUs with some states, and we want the states to tell us what they want the federal government to come and support in, because working in silos does not give a long-term sustainability. We want a single vision in the vision of Mr. President. We have a collaboration with Big Win Philanthropy that will create at least 2 million jobs by 2027. Infrastructure. There is a dearth of infrastructure to help the growth of the industry. So we have established the Creative and Tourism Infrastructure Corporation, a special purpose vehicle that was approved by the Federal Executive Council, and with a projected investment of $100 billion and potential to contribute significantly to the creation of over 2 million jobs. How many minutes? 5. Okay. I'll just run through this really quick. You see, we have so many things, but I'll just run through this very quickly. We have a partnership with the Frexim Bank. We have collaboration with Ministry of MOFI. We have a partnership with the Creative Parks. This is very important because this is where we want to create the Abuja Creative City right here. We want to make that a one-stop shop that will make Nigeria the culture and creative capital of not only Africa and of the world, and we signed that recently. And we've already started work. And then the impact, the film industry. Okay, so the Nigerian Corporation Advancement of the Audiovisual Co-Production Agreements we have signed with Brazil, with South Africa and France, and we're talking to Morocco, India, Pakistan, Spain, Italy, and Namibia. They are all interested in our content, and we are ready to work with them as long as it brings value back into Nigeria. I'll just go to the challenges. We'll go to the challenges. Funding constraints. We have had to be very creative in looking at ways that we bring funding, because there is no funding to support our ability to really add the infrastructure and some of the policies. So Mr. President, in his vision, has really supported us to go out and be creative, and we have been able to do that by raising at least $300 million for the creative industry. And the global competition. Some of our creative products do not meet high international quality, and I'm working seriously on that. It's not about quantity, I know it's about quality. And then the lack of infrastructure. I will be glad to tell you that we are just about to deliver an arena. As a Nigerian, if you want to watch a concert of Afrobeats soon with a Nigerian, you don't have to travel outside the country to Ghana, to Rwanda. Very soon we will have a global standard arena whereby your greats, your likes of Davidos and the likes of Burna Boys and the likes of Beyonce's and the likes of Coldplay can come to the center of creativity and the center of Afrobeats to play. We will be delivering that arena to you very, very soon. And then the data. Like I said, the data is key. Some of the other projects that we have just recently finalized on is the renovation of the Nigeria House in Brazil, in Bahia. and the Renewed Hope Arts Pavilion, which is a major milestone for a national museum here in Abuja, the greatest black nation of the world that has all the content that everyone is interested in, should not be living without a museum in its capital. So there will be a museum here in Abuja, and that project will be started within the next 3 months. And then the creative hubs. We are going to build creative hubs in all the 6 geopolitical zones. We already have started on working on 3 now, and soon there will be creative hubs. Hopefully, my hope is that it will grow beyond the zones. So in conclusion, in line with the vision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has mandated us to be courageous and interrupt the normal way of doing things, the Ministry of Art, Culture, Tourism, and the Creative Economy stands at the forefront of Nigeria's economic diversification strategy, transforming what was once viewed as merely cultural expression into powerful engines of sustainable growth and job creation. In just 18 months, we have secured over $300 million in investment commitments and established innovative funding mechanisms like the Creative Economy Development Fund, and we have created infrastructure that will generate at least 2 million jobs, and we have elevated Nigeria's global cultural standing while all encouraging rural communities, women and youth to participate meaningfully in the creative economy. Our strategic partnerships spanning government agencies, international organizations, and private sector leaders have positioned Nigeria's tourism and creative sectors not just as alternatives to oil dependency, but as a vibrant, inclusive economic pillars capable of addressing our nation's most pressing challenges. Mr. President has asked us to bring economic growth. He has asked us to create jobs. He has asked us to reposition Nigeria. And I can tell you that is exactly what the Ministry of Art, Culture, Tourism, and Creative Economy is doing. I thank you for your attention, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I believe we can make the applause a bit louder for the Honorable Minister. Thank you. You may please be seated. Very passionate presentation indeed. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to recognize the presence of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, Southeast Zone, Barrister Chioma Wednesday. Please a round of applause for her. Thank you for joining us. Without wasting any much time, we'll move to the last presentation for today. This presentation will run for 25 minutes. As directed. And coming up next is the former Commissioner of Water Resources and Environment, Benue State, the former ED, Engineering, Lower Benue River Basin Development Authority, the pioneer rector of the Federal Polytechnic, Wanune, Benue State, and a professor of water resource engineering. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I give you the Honorable Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Engineer Professor Joseph Telugu Utse, Fellow of the Nigerian Society of Engineers.
I was very happy when we were told that I'm giving only 25 minutes to address this gathering. But I want to promise you that this is not the only venue. I have a date with channels, NTA and TVC to address the nation on the activities of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation. So there is no problem. I want to thank the Minister for Information and National Orientation, the Honorable Minister for Works, Honorable Minister for Arts, Culture, and Creative Economy, the Honorable Minister of State for Works, the Special Advisor to the President, my permanent secretary and other permanent secretaries here present, directors, the press, ladies and gentlemen. We are from the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation. We are here to present an update of the activities of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu within the last 2 years. When the president was campaigning, he made promises to enhance the well-living of Nigerians. And in his Renew Hope agenda, he brought about top 8 priorities, among which are to boost food production, to end poverty, to create jobs, to enhance the economy of the nation, and this government will be an inclusive government, among others. And we from the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation, we are saddled with the responsibility of developing, implementing policies, programs, and projects that will enable us meet and sustain the access to safe and sufficient water in order to meet the social, cultural, environmental, and economic development needs of all Nigerians. And in doing that, there are basically 4 sub-sectors that we are achieving this target. One of them is the dams and hydropower sub-sector. We have the water supply sub-sector, the irrigation sub-sector, and sanitation sub-sector. So these are the basic 4 sub-sectors that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is delivering the evidence of democracy to Nigeria through our ministry. So in the sub-sector of dams and hydropower, we have actually successfully completed 3 dams, and we have commissioned them, and as we are talking now, we have made them available for usage for the residents. One of them is the Rafin Yashim Multipurpose Dam in Niger State, which has since been commissioned in November 2023, and is supplying about 3,700 cubic meters of water for irrigation, water supply, and flood control. The second one is the Odo Ape Dam in Kogi State. That was also commissioned in February 2024. And it has a capacity of about 3.5 million cubic meters of water that is supplying. And it's serving about 2,800 farmers. And they're using this water maximally in the production of about 3,000 metric tons of grains. The third one is the Amla Otupo Dam in Benue State, which has been completed since September 2023. When we came on board, there are several of our infrastructure that were abandoned. Some of them were obsolete. So when we came on board, by the directives of Mr. President, we took a tour of all the 50 agencies that we have in the country to ascertain their successes and challenges, and to put in place what can make life meaningful to Nigerians. In the area of public-private partnership, we are able to concession the 40 megawatts Kashimbila hydropower, and then the Kashimbila Integrated Cargo Agro Island Airport. We have done this, and the aim of this was not only to generate revenue for government, but basically to make access for the transportation of our agricultural inputs to the market, and also to make available additional power supply to the environment, and also for other cottage industries to be made available within the vicinity. We have also in the process of concessioning about 460 megawatts Kashna Ala and 20 megawatts Fariruwa in Benue and Nasarawa respectively. Through the concession process, we are able to make available 7.12 billion as revenue into the special concession account of the federal government to the 40 megawatts Kashimbela hydropower. Series of projects have also been accomplished. In the irrigation subsector. In the irrigation subsector, which is very key in creating jobs, boosting food production, and making our government an inclusive one. We have completed the Baccalaureate irrigation project in Zamfara State. We have also completed and commissioned the Dadin Kowa irrigation project in Gombe State, which is designed to irrigate about 2,100 hectares of farmland, and this has been made available to farmers to cultivation. There are a series of micro irrigation projects that we have carried out. One at Igbo Gidigidi in Ipapu, in Oyo State. We have other ones in Gari, in Jigawa State, and numerous of them scattered around the country. Due to lack of time, I will be brief on mentioning some of those things. In the water supply subsector, we are able to complete about 7 key water projects, which we have commissioned. One of them is the water project at Brinu Kudu community in Jigawa State, which is serving about 500 households. The second one is the PoliticsToday, the PoliticsToday water supply scheme, which we have also completed. We have the Gashua water supply project in Yobe, which has a capacity of about 3,200 million liters per day, which is serving over 1 million people in Yobe. That which we have just commissioned about 2 weeks ago. We also, in our course to go around the country for our Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign, we discovered that the camp, the NYC camp we have at Kuba has challenge of water. So I sent my people, our technical people, swiftly went to that camp and identified the challenge. And we have constructed a heavy water supply scheme there that is serving the camp and the people that are living within that particular camp. There are several other projects which we have constructed. We have the Gombe Regional Water Supply Scheme, which is about 100% completed, awaiting commissioning. We have written to Mr. President to give us the date so that we can, here we go and commission that particular project. And the people of Gombe State are very, very happy with what Mr. President is doing for the people of Gombe State. And this is going to serve over 2 million people. We have the Damaturu water supply scheme in Yobe State. We also have the Nguru water supply scheme also in Yobe, which are at 90 and 95% completion respectively, which each of them will serve about 500,000 people. We are also collaborating with the subnationals. This government is an inclusive government as promised by Mr. President. So we're making it an inclusive government. We are collaborating with the subnationals, that is at the state level, and also with our development partners. That is what the ministry is doing. And there are several programs which the ministry is using in reaching out to the good people of Nigerians. One of the programs is the P-Wash program, which is Partnership for Expanded Water Supply, Sanitation and Hygiene. The second one is the Sustainable Urban Rural Water Supply, Sanitation and Hygiene. And the third one is the African Development Bank Support Program. All these 3 programs we are using to reach out to the grassroots in terms of supplying water and other sanitation facilities to all Nigerians. And so we have successfully completed about 628 water supply schemes, which has been constructed, and this is serving about 451,670 persons across the country. In the area of sanitation, when we came on board, we discovered that the program, the Clean Nigeria Use the Toilet campaign, recorded about 102 local governments that are open defecation free. So what we did was that let us bring some strategies on ground to see how we can fast track this campaign. And one of the initiatives we brought on ground was to bring other languages also in place. We developed jingles in different languages. One of them is apart from the English, we developed jingles in Pidgin, in Igbo, Hausa, and Yoruba languages, so that this will filter to the grassroots. There are several people that have toilets in their homes, in their offices. But the culture of using this toilet effectively to some people is a challenge. So we need that sensitization to reach out to these people, apart from constructing these toilets for them. And by doing that, we also launch the revised Clean Nigeria campaign implementation strategy. This strategy will enable us, as we are talking now, we are visiting communities, institutions, the churches, the mosques. About 3 weeks ago, we are at the Central Mosque here in Abuja. We also visited some churches here. And as we are talking now, some of our people are at the field, some are in Taraba State, some are in Benue State, some are in other parts of the country, giving that sensitization. And this is yielding fruits. Now we have gained additional 40 local government. And by the end of this year, from the analysis and assessment that is ongoing, our target is to make Nigeria an open defecation-free nation by the year 2030. But we are trusting that before that year, Nigeria will be completely and totally open defecation-free. By the end of this year, we are believing that out of the 774 local governments in Nigeria, we should be getting half of that from the assessment and analysis that our field people and our desk officers at the state level are giving us. We are also constructing sanitation facilities. So far, we have constructed additional 159, and about 38 are also in the pipeline, in addition to those ones that have earmarked in the 2025 budget to construct. Late last year, we have a challenge of flooding. Flooding has been a recurrent challenge in our country, Nigeria. So last year, among the communities that were faced with flooding in Nigeria was Maiduguri in Borno State, where there was an overflow of Alao Dam, which caused a lot of destruction of properties and lives in Maiduguri. And because of that, we visited Maiduguri town. Mr. President himself abandoned his other official duties and visited Maiduguri. So coming back, we assessed, and I gave a report to the Federal Executive Council, where a technical committee was set to assess not only Alao Dam, but all the dams in the country. So this assessment is ongoing. At the moment, we are able to complete the assessment of Alao Dam, and reports has been given. The Federal Executive Council, under the leadership of Mr. President, has approved funds for the reconstruction and upgrade of this Alao Dam. Originally, Alao Dam was only supplying water to the people of Maiduguri State. But with this upgrade, when constructed, it will have the capacity of irrigating the vicinity and also putting in place the hydropower potentials. We are also carrying out study and design of several dams in Nigeria, among which I want to specifically mention is the Dase Hausa Dam in Adamawa. We are very, very concerned with Dase Hausa Dam in Adamawa because there are releases from Lado Dam from Cameroon. And when this water comes, it affects the entire country. The entire country in the sense that the whole of the Benue Trop is being affected. So what we are doing now, we have completed the study and design of this Dase Hausa Dam we are at the stage of procuring a transaction advisor, which will enable us carry out the construction of the Dasa Hausa Dam. And when this is being constructed, it will act as a buffer dam to the Lado Dam that will curtail the water that comes out of that Lado Dam. And this water, we intend that it will be used for irrigation, because we have a vast of land over there that we can use this dam to irrigate our country. We're also going to use this dam for water supply, in addition to the hydropower development that we're going to put in place to provide additional hydropower source to our national grid. And at the same time, it will also control the flooding that occurs along the Benue Trough. There are other several projects that we have on ground that are the verge of completion. We have the Mango Dam in Plateau State, the Obese Dam in Ekiti State. We also have the Kashimpila Multipurpose Dam in Taraba State. The Kashimpila Dam, the dam and hydropower component has actually been completed, so we are working on the water supply and irrigation component, because in order to achieve boosting food production, creating jobs for our teeming population, that irrigation component is very, very key. And that is the reason why we're trying to upgrade our dams so that it can take care of the irrigation components that will help and revive the economy of our country. So there are several dams that are the verge of completion. We have the Irawo Dam in Oyo State, the Monkin Dam in Taraba State, the Nkari Dam in Akwa Ibom State, Adada Dam in Enugu State, the Ngawa Dalaji Dam in Katsina State, Otupo Multipurpose Dam in Benue State, Jare Air Dam in Katsina, Kontagora, in Niger State, the Ogenahaji, the Elef Dam in Osun State, the Farinruwa in Nasarawa State, the Galma Dam in Kaduna State. All these dams are at various stages of completion. And we are working assiduously to complete these dams and make them usable to our farmers for cultivation. In the area of irrigation, we also have series of irrigation projects that are ongoing at the verge of completion. We have the Middle Rima Valley Irrigation Project in Sokoto State. We also have the Tada Shanga Irrigation Project in Kwara State, the Middle Ogun Irrigation Project in Isei, Oyo State, the Lower Ogun Irrigation Project in Ogun State, the Chochi Irrigation Project. All these projects with numerous These micro projects, we have identified some communities around the country, and we are putting in place these micro irrigation projects so that it will be used, it will first of all generate employment. It will also make it be an inclusive government, whereby we are inviting the private sector to also come in. We have prepared this land, making them available for our private sector to come in and also key into the project we have. We can give you the technical expertise that you need. You bring in your finances, you make the land available for you, and you cultivate and make food available for Nigerians. So there are many, many of these projects that are ongoing. We have a program called the Trimming Project, which has yielded so much fruit in the country. And to succeed this Trimming Project is the SPIN project, that is Sustainable Power and Irrigation in Nigeria. This project, we are collaborating with the World Bank. And the aim of this project is to rehabilitate and modernize all our selected dams and irrigation projects in Nigeria. And by this, the aim of this project is to boost food production, to create more, to develop more power supply. And the challenges that maybe some villages we are having, some communities we are having in this country, we don't have, that doesn't have the power supply. These dams, when we make them available in the villages where there are no national power, this can augment the power that Mr. President is putting in place for the good people of Nigeria. So this program at the moment have met the states that have met the criteria, Adamawa State, Bauchi, Benue, Borno, Delta, Ebonyi, Ekiti, Enugu, Gombe, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Nasarawa, Niger, Plateau, Sokoto, Yobe, and Zamfara State. So these states have met the criteria to be part of this being projects, and we have inaugurated the steering committee. The project management unit has also been inaugurated, and by the beginning of July, this project is going to be in earnest kickstarting. There are other several projects, water projects that are ongoing, several of them in different parts of the country that are ongoing because of lack of time. I will not be mentioning them one by one, but as I earlier said, I'm going to appear on channels and other television to enlighten, give more brief on the details of some of these projects that we have. We have also flagged 4 very important water projects. One of them is the Greater Tuse Water Supply Project in Jigawa State. We have also flagged up the rehabilitation and upgrading of Buruku Boko Water Supply Project in Ambaladu in Benue State, among other projects that we have flagged up. These are one of the numerous achievements that we have gained. Through our agencies, the river basins, which are saddled with the responsibility of achieving Mr. President's mandate, we are working assiduously in the area of irrigation, water supply, boosting power. Listen, at the moment, we have made available 395,624 hectares of land that are available for irrigation, out of which 154,000 hectares has been developed already for irrigation, and 1,658,576 farmers have already been engaged in the irrigation project. We want to sincerely thank the President for the appointment of the board and executive management team of our 12 river basins, which we have done the retreat for them, and we are also engaging with the state government to reclaim the land that were encroached by some private sectors and also by government at various sectors, so that by the time we gain this land bank, we can invite the private sector and other farmers also come in and benefit from the numerous programs that we have. Through the Nigerian Integrated Water Resources Management, we are able to issue about 24 licenses to our water users, out of which 45 are on process, and Nigeria have also gained about 104.64 million, which is being generated from the revenue that we have gotten from these licenses. This is between 2023 and 2024. The update from 2024 to 2025 out of dates will be given as we generate the statement of our account. Through our National Water Resources Institute, we are developing training, manpower, also in research. And so far, we are able to graduate people in our training, and we are also training people in our water resources skills in order to make them viable in our society to carry out the practices that we have in the country. Through the Nigerian Hydrological Service Agency also, we have been giving warnings to Nigerians through our AFO. We have launched the 2023, 2024, and 2025, and we have listed the states, local government that are liable for flooding, and for 2025, we have also done that. And to mitigate the challenges that will come with this flooding, we have also, through our radios and televisions, a series of jingles that are ongoing, sensitizing Nigerians of the effect and the things that we should put in place to mitigate the challenge that will come with flooding. And we're also collaborating with many MDAs and state government in trying to combat the challenges of this flooding in the country. Series of projects that we have that we're about to commission, the Damaturu water supply scheme in Damaturu, the Wembe, the Mango series. We have about 78 drip irrigation projects we are going to commission in this year. We also had the Fairuwa water project. We had the Opela water supply scheme, Mbise, Damaturu, the water supply in Bauchi. Series of them that we are going to commission in the year 2025. And we are working, we are liaising with schools, head public places to combat the issue of open defecation in Nigeria. We want to sincerely thank Mr. President for his support to the Ministry of Water Resources and Sanitation. We commend all critical stakeholders, federal government, the state and local government, our development partners that are funding, that are supporting us in terms of technical expertise, and that are working with us to implement our programs and projects in the water and sanitation sector. We want to deeply appreciate the Minister of Information and his team for putting this in place. And as I earlier said, we'll be coming back to unveil some of the important and very meaningful projects that the ministry is doing through relevant stakeholders to achieve the targets set by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration in the areas of irrigated agricultural landscape, boosting food production, alleviating poverty, creating jobs, and propelling the economic growth and development of our country. I thank you all, and God bless you.
I believe that applause can be louder than what it is. Put your hands together for the Honorable Minister. Thank you very much. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I've been directed. We're pressed for time. This program should have been a 2-hour live program, and we're pressed for time. And because of that, the questions we will take today have been limited to just 3, and they should be targeted to each of the ministries. So by the show of hand, you introduce yourself, the media organization you write for, and your question. The gentleman in white beard, Josh from FRCN, and the gentleman in white. Quickly, please, this way. I think the man from Channels. Please. Please, let's hurry up with the mic to him, please.
Good afternoon, Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation. Please permit me to stand on the already existing protocols. My question is to the Minister of Works, Senator Dave Umahi. Thank you very much, sir. You rightly articulated your thoughts and the achievement you've made so far in the span of these 2 years of assuming office, and we just want to commend you for that. We say thank you very much, sir. Now, I believe Nigerians would have expected you, maybe for the lack of time, we all woke up to the resurgence of tolling our roads. And exactly February 4th, to be more precise, the road corridors of Abuja, Akwanga, Lafayette, Makurdi started tolling. The toll gates went into operation February 4th, to be more precise. So I would just want to ask, in the first place, why was this tolling suspended? What were the factors that led to the suspension of the tolling? And seeing this resurgence, what measures were put in place to ensure that it doesn't go back being suspended again? And also we want to know what roads furthermore will be tolled. For now, it's just the Abuja, Akwanga, Lafayette, and Makurdi road were shut off. What other roads were tolled? And also, sir, what is informing the reintroduction of this tolling of our roads? What exactly is reforming it? And lastly, in the face of the economy, what we've been facing, the removal of fuel subsidy, the high tariffs in telecoms, and also in electricity, what is the economic implication for Nigerians when it comes to all of this? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. The next.
Good afternoon, ministers, senior colleagues. My name is Joshua Adams. I report for Radio Nigeria. My question again is for the Minister of Works.